Not too long ago, I saw an amazing post inside our Facebook group that came from Dante. And Dante posted, hey guys, I just hit 1 million total streams. And then just a little bit later, Dante posted another update that he was about hitting 500,000 streams a month. So today I'm super excited to be able to speak with Dante about his incredible journey for his music and have him share his success story with us. Hey, it's John here at Hyped It, and today I'm super pumped to have Dante Rose with us here on Zoom today. Hey Dante, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Excellent, thank you so much. For those of you who have been following the Hyped It community and you've been around our Facebook groups, you may have recognized Dante. He has been sharing some of the most amazing updates with his music and the success story that he's had since getting his music on Spotify, and it feels he's just hitting one growth milestone after the other. So I'm just absolutely pumped having an opportunity to speak with Dante today, have him share some of his story and maybe some insights and tips and tricks that can help all of us growing our music and hitting milestones similar to his. So Dante, thank you so much again for sharing some of your time, and let us know where you're dialing in from today.
Los Angeles.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Dante, again, thanks so much for being here. And I'd love to basically start off at the beginning of your journey. Tell me about your journey. What's your story like as a musician?
So I started making music around year 2000, I think, on a PlayStation. So people my age, I know a few big producers started the same way as I did, this PlayStation game called Music Generator, I think it was called. And that's how I learned the basics. And obviously I was hooked on it, and that's all I did. I was probably about 15 or 14 or something like that. So yeah, I just learned the basics, and then it took me maybe 5 or 6 years to kind of get more serious, and I got a real software to make music with. But I didn't pursue it as a career because when I left school, it's like there was no real options to do music production, I didn't feel like. So I'm like, well, I was good at art as well, so I did graphic design instead. And then I kind of did music production in my spare time, just on and off, kind of for fun. And at some point, probably late on, I started to get more serious about it. And then when I got really serious, it was only 3 or 4 years ago, I'd say. I'm like, right, I've got to do this full time. I've done it on and off. I've just got to go all in with this. And I was lucky enough, I had my own business, and it was pretty easy. I was making a lot of passive income. So I'm like, this is a perfect time to do it. So then I had released a couple of random tunes that didn't really go anywhere. Maybe the first one was like 2005. And it was in one of the charts actually at the time, but I didn't follow up with anything. I just didn't release any more music for probably 10 years. That's pretty crazy when I think about it. But yeah, 10 years went by, I didn't release any music. I'm somebody who's done a lot of different things. I've been in the app business. I've done a lot of artwork and stuff like that. But music is obviously the main thing I wanted to do. So yeah, Roses was my first big song. And that just came as an experiment. That's drum and bass, right? I wasn't even really making drum and bass at the time. I was just experimenting. And a lot of my music comes out of experimentation. But also in my mind, it's like, I want to make sure it has a decent amount of appeal, like mass appeal almost, to where it's not a niche. So I'll get a lot more streams, Not necessarily like pop music, but something in it that you feel like will appeal to a lot of people. So with Roses, that started as a remix, and I posted it on YouTube and SoundCloud, and it was a bootleg. I was using the vocals from a released song by St. John, right? And a bunch of people were commenting saying this needs to be on Spotify, and I'm like, I can't put this on Spotify, it's a bootleg. And they didn't get it, so I'm like, well, there's got to be a way to do that. So I started looking into cover songs and stuff, and I'm like, who's covered this song already? So I went onto YouTube, just put St. John Roses covers, and then I came across Rune, and she did this really nice cover with an acoustic guitar, and she was doing well. She had a decent amount of YouTube subscribers. She had a few songs released. She had all her branding dialed in, and I had nothing, zero streams. And I'm like, God, I'd love to get her. She got such a good voice. And I'm like, I might as well DM her. I'm not gonna get her, but I might as well do it just so I know I've done it. And I DM'd her saying, I've got this weird song, it's pretty random, and I've seen that you've done a cover of it. Do you want your vocals on this? And she's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe she's actually gonna do it. So yeah, she did it, and then we worked on that quite a lot, and it felt like a special song. For my standards, I feel like the production isn't as good as my production is today, but I think the important thing is that the idea and the concept was there. And your average person doesn't care that much if it's like a perfect mix and master. And it's decent. I think it's still decent. But anyway, and people loved it. People DMing me all the time saying how much they love it and stuff like that. And still to this day, people love it. So that was how I started that first song, Roses. And I put all my effort into that. Instead of just releasing a ton of music, it was that one song. And I'm like, I want to blow this up. And I'm someone who just pushes things as far as I can.
And then what happened when you put it on Spotify? Did it take off right away, or what happened to Roses on Spotify?
No, it took a while. I remember it took a while to get to like 10,000 streams. And because Rune had some audience as well, that helped a lot to get some initial players and stuff. And she loved the song as well. She still does, obviously. So she was behind it as much as I was, which is, you know, when you collaborate, it's like two people, it's bigger than the sum of the parts. So it's not just like two people, it's almost like 10 people, if you know what I mean. So I was running ads, I was using the Hyped It landing page, and I was pushing it on YouTube and Spotify, like, because I think that Spotify and YouTube kind of go hand in hand, because people want to come and talk to you about it. So they go to YouTube for the comments, and they'll say, I came here because I found your song on Spotify and I want to say how much I like your song. Or they'll find you on Instagram. So my YouTube views lifted up through pushing it on Spotify. And that was kind of just a bonus, I guess. And then other big channels started to upload the song as well. So if you just keep pushing one song, it kind of takes on a life of its own, and you just leave it and it will just carry on going, and other people will start pushing it on your behalf. Yeah, it's at like 3.5 million now. No record label, just running ads. And Rune did a bit of content for it as well. She's good at content stuff. I'm not very good at content, but she takes care of that.
I love it. That really resonates with me, that if you notice you have a song that sizzles, putting all your energy behind that one and push it as far as you can, and then benefit from the Spotify algorithm that will get you more exposure for it, everything for free. You said something really interesting, which is that you started pushing the song with ads and smart links. At the time, what made you think, holy moly, like ads and then smart links, you know, with Hyped It, that could really make a difference. That could work for me.
Well, lucky enough, I've already done marketing for my business before that. So I just kind of knew that's how to do it. And then I found your tools. I'm like, well, this is perfect. Like, you can put the pixel in there. It's like a really simple landing page. And it's like you say, it's a filter. If people go in there and then they don't want to click again, like, you know, you don't need them people. The people who click through twice. And then I guess that Facebook learns from the people who are clicking, and more people will get targeted.
And then, so is this something you're still doing for your music today? Were the ads something that you started with and then you transitioned to some other tactics? Or is this something that has supported you at every scale of your music career?
Yeah, every song I'll do the same way, but sometimes I don't push it as much. So what I'm doing right now actually is, so I've got a song called Red Light, and that's just me. There's no collaboration. There's a vocal on there, but it's from a sample pack. And for whatever reason, that's been my most successful ad. I think because it's got a strong visual, so it catches people's eyes in the ads, and they like the song. It looks like they like the song. So that song, it's almost at 1 million streams. But
and if I remember this correctly, the ad was the cover art of the song with the pulsing light effect to the central element of the cover art. But is that what it was?
Yeah, so it was like a skeleton with a red, the song's called Red Light. It's holding like a red light, and it's kind of pulsing and stuff.
Yes, and that was
I guess
the cover
it's red
art
as well. So that, So anyway, I just run that to a playlist, like what you show in Growth Engine. So I run that to the playlist like 24/7. I never turn it off, just so I know that no matter what, somebody new is finding my music. And you never know who that might be. It could be someone big, because like, you know, I don't know, people who work for big record labels are still on Facebook, so they could see it as an ad. So yeah, it's always worth, I mean, even if you're paying $30 a month, which is probably the minimum that you can spend, like $1 a day, right? Just do $1 a day. We like a full time, people complain about spending money and like, oh, I'm wasting my money. Like, there's bigger things you can waste your money on. Like, I would cancel Netflix before turning my ads off. So yeah, run ads full time and you're not gonna lose really.
Yeah.
But you do have to have a good song. Like you can't just push anything.
Yeah, I agree. That's so valuable. Now, since you started doing this and started pushing your music, what has happened since? Are there any cool stories or big wins that happened because of it?
Yeah, I'd say there's a lot. I've had a few publishers coming in. I think so with publishers and stuff, they must all have the same back-end data, because all at once, like a bunch of publishers started hitting me up saying they want like a slice of my catalog.
And where are you right now in terms of total streams, just so everybody watching the video has a reference?
On Spotify alone, it's like over 10 million. It might be 11. I haven't checked. I forgot to check.
Congrats. That's amazing.
It's over 14 million with SoundCloud and YouTube included. I know that much.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But when you said, how did you start? I started with a goal of 10 million streams. I'm like, and I want a big goal. At first it was 1 million. This was before I had any streams whatsoever on Spotify. I'm like, all right, what's my goal? 10 million. But I wanted it within that year. I didn't hit it within that first year. It took maybe 2 or 3 years to get to 10 million, I think. But it was still in my mind. And that's the first thing you need, is a big goal. Like, I speak to people sometimes about music marketing on DMs and stuff. And they're like, oh, I only want 100,000 streams. I'm like, why? If you only want 100,000 streams, you will probably hit 10,000 streams. If you want 1 billion streams, you will hit, 10 million streams. So you've got to have a big goal to start with, and then you've just got to believe it. And that's it, really. That's the most important thing.
Yes, I so agree. Having a really big goal shifts your mindset, and it allows you to look at the options that you have to reach that goal. And it's a lot easier to cut options that don't even have the capacity to get you to those bigger numbers. So I really agree with that.
It takes the same amount as energy. That's the crazy thing. It takes the same amount as energy. Maybe it takes more money if you're doing it that way, but you just find a way to get the money. You don't need a ton of money either.
Yes. And one of the things that I think you have done amazing for your music, because of the musical and the artistic background, you really craft amazing branding around your releases. The cover art, you do it all yourself. Is that right?
I do it all myself. I don't necessarily recommend it because it's time consuming. And I only do it because I don't want to give up doing art, and I enjoy it. So, and yeah, I guess it gives me a unique side that I do the artwork and the music.
With that talent, what role does merchandise play for you? I'm curious.
I've just started selling some merch now, so my store isn't fully live just because I'm unfortunately a perfectionist and there's like things I want to get right in the store. But some of my merch is available through it's connected to Spotify. Shopify connects to Spotify, and some of my merch is listed on there, but not the full store yet. So yeah, I'm gonna sell my merch for sure.
Awesome.
My artwork on the merch.
Yeah, excellent. Now, on this journey from getting started on Spotify, putting out your first couple tracks, targeting 1 million streams, hitting that, targeting 10 million streams, hitting that, what are some of the tips and tricks that you picked up along the way that you would want to pay forward and share with other music artists who are in similar shoes? They just put out new music, they have big dreams, but what have you learned that could really help somebody get to those goals faster?
I would say a couple of things. One thing is, and people might not like it, but try and put something in your song that's kind of TikTok-able. Like, as in, something that's big on TikTok is contrast in a song. So there'll be like a quiet section, to say it basically, a quiet section and a loud section, or a smooth section and a rough section. And people like that kind of thing on TikTok. So like, when I did Roses, there's this one section where there's just a vocal on its own, and then it goes into the drop really heavily. And I kind of did that intentionally, knowing that it's like a shareable thing. And it did. Like, a lot of people will share your music on, TikTok and Instagram Reels. So try and think about that when you're actually making a song, like how people would maybe want to share it. That's the first thing. And then collaborating is just a huge multiplier. And if you're just starting out and you don't have much clout, I was lucky enough to find an artist who liked what I did. Like, if you've got good music, that will be better than having clout. Or you just pay. You could get an artist with like hundreds of thousands of monthly listeners and pay them $200 or $300 to feature on your track. And then if you can make them a primary artist, which is what you want to do, your music's going to be visible on their Spotify. And yeah, that's a big hack and collaborate.
No, I love it. That's great. And now you're a real expert also when it comes to ads. Obviously, you've done marketing and ads before you even did it for music. Now you carried this forward into the music space. I'm curious, with respect to ads, are there some tips and tricks that you found that worked for you particularly well? And I'm asking you that question because I know a lot of viewers of our YouTube channel here are obviously in the ads game in order to get listeners and streams and fans over to Spotify. And so I'm wondering if you figured out any particular tips or tricks that could be worth trying for artists who are looking to get more exposure for their music using ads.
Yeah, so the important thing, I think, is the visual, because you've got to get their attention. Like, does somebody think about somebody who's on Facebook, they're just scrolling through, like, why are they going to click on your ad if it's not eye-catching? So the first thing you need is a strong visual. Obviously, test, like you teach, test different parts of your song, because you can never know which part will work best. Like one of my best ads, it's not even cut cleanly. It's like halfway through a verse, or even one of the lines. It doesn't make sense, but it's the part for some reason that converts better.
When you focus so strongly on the visuals, what are the elements that you're using? Do you mostly focus on the cover art, or you do focus on other parts that you use to compose the video, the visuals of the ad?
Yeah, I focus on the cover art. So I think about this in advance. When I'm doing cover art, I think about how it's going to look as an ad. So I'm like, how am I going to animate this and how I'm going to catch people's eyes when I start to do that? It's not always the case. Sometimes if I'm working with a vocalist, they might want a picture of them. So it's not always the case. But when it's my own release without, or if I can convince them to let me do the cover art, then yeah, just something that's eye-catching, like some sort of 3D movement will draw them in. Colors like red on black, something with a lot of contrast.
Now, with this amazing success path that you've been on, going from, getting first onto Spotify, crossing 1 million, crossing 500,000 a month, crossing 10 million total. What's life like today for you as a musician?
Yeah, it's hard to balance everything because you've got to put a lot of time into it, but I love it, So yeah, I'm just working on a lot of new music. I'm excited. I'm trying to do shows this year. I'm going to release a lot more music. So what I said earlier, that I was concentrating on blowing up one song, but I do want a huge catalog. Like, why not?
Yes.
So I want to put out at least one song a month.
That's awesome. Now, Dante, we've talked so much about your music, and I'm sure there's tons of folks watching this video right now that are dying to listen to your music. So where can they go to get the best of Dante Rose?
Yeah, go to Spotify and put in Dante Rose, and I think you'll see a picture of me.
I'm also going to leave a link below this video for anybody who doesn't want to use the search. We're going to have a link down below to Dante's Spotify profile. And actually, on that Spotify profile, you said you have some of your merchandise. So highly recommend scrolling down there and checking out some of Dante's merchandise, because his artistic skills are really outstanding.
Actually, maybe check out my YouTube, because you'll see like the art and the animation stuff that I do. And this is all like the stuff that I'm doing this year is going to be a lot better than I've already got. But
yeah,
if you like the artwork side of things, check that out. Sorry.
Got to put 2 links then. One link to Spotify, one link to YouTube.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Dante, thank you so much for sharing your story and what has worked for you. Absolutely a blast having you on. And then once you're at 100 million streams, we'll come back together and shoot the next video.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good.
Awesome. All right,
Thanks
Dante, all the best to you. Thanks so much.
No worries.
Want to get your music heard on Spotify with AI? I just launched a brand new video training program called the Spotify Growth Switch, where I show you how to start growing real listeners, real fans, and real streams on Spotify in less than 10 minutes using software and AI. I've used the Spotify Growth Switch system to now grow my music to over 7 million streams and tens of thousands of monthly listeners on Spotify. This works for any music genre. It gets you real fans and listeners super fast, and it's extremely easy to set up, literally just like flipping a spotlight switch for your music. Despite using AI, you don't need to know nothing about tech stuff in order to be successful with this. I've had the tremendous privilege of helping multiple tens of thousands of music artists grow their music on Spotify, many of which have grown to much larger numbers, lots more listeners, lots more streams than I have using the systems that I've taught. Makes me so proud of their success. And so if you want to get more real listeners, real fans, and real streams for your music fast using state-of-the-art state-of-the-art software and AI, then click the link below this video and check out the Spotify Growth Switch. I can't wait to help you grow your music on Spotify, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside.